takes to the tango, to the tango, to the really get the feeling of romance.
I don't know if she's going to do one of these.
For nearly 6 years, David Hornbeck had been trying to change the rules on both teacher accountability and seniority. Twice he negotiated with the teachers union, and twice he lost.
Without us, and solidarity wins.
In the spring of 2000, he was negotiating again.
In the past, the twin issues of accountability and seniority have been real barriers. Is the union prepared to give on either of those issues?
The problem is not seniority. The problem is, how do we get teachers to remain in their schools? And we can solve that problem by the working conditions, because we have always said that our working conditions are our students' learning conditions.
In 1996, the issue was seniority, and Ted Kirsch was willing to strike to protect it. Things were different in 2000. The law that allows the state to remove Hornbeck and take over the schools also restricts the union's power. Basically, it says that if the board and the union can't reach agreement on a contract by August 31st, all the provisions of the old contract go out the window. Bargaining starts over from square one. That put David Hornbeck in a strong position.
We need to begin with two questions. We need to say to ourselves, what provisions of a good collective bargaining agreement can contribute affirmatively, constructively to creating classrooms where kids learn? And secondly, what provisions of a contract will make it a professional and fair contract for teachers? And I think that if you begin with those two questions, instead of beginning with the great big thick contract that we have, that you come to a very different place than you necessarily do by just tinkering around the edges.
Because of that takeover law, the union is arguably not in as strong a position. I mean, if you don't come to an agreement by August 31st, things change dramatically. Is that changing the union's attitude about negotiating?
The union's attitude has always been that we will do what it is that we have to do in the best interest of our members. And I don't want to feel any pressure because of laws, because of situations. The one thing that we have a history of, we're a very strong union. And there are many ways to skin a cat.
I'm not sure that they're at a place yet where they can come up with the kind of contract that I think a lot of people are starting to demand. But I know that the school district wants a lot more flexibility in assigning its teachers so that they're in the schools where they're needed the most. But the other big thing that's hanging over the contract is there's no money to pay the teachers substantially more.
Members who are here who have the interest in public education will demand that it change.
Last time I talked to you, you said, John, seniority is the sacred cow. Correct. But he would like to see teachers selecting themselves so that the school becomes a community of teachers who've chosen to work together. Could you imagine accepting that?
Well, no, I really can't imagine that.
If I were to take back every proposal that David Hornbeck is asking for, the elimination of seniority, the local hiring, you name it, and say to the members, here it is, folks, you can accept it or you can reject it. There is no question in my mind that it'll be rejected.
I move that you authorize the president of the PFT to call a strike.
Do you expect a strike?
It's possible. It would be a very risky thing for the union to do. It would put them much more at risk than it ever would have before, given the new laws.
All those in favor of authorizing the president to call a strike, please say aye. I'm not sure they heard you at City Hall. Can we say it a little louder? And now for Harrisburg. All those opposed say no. Unanimous vote.
Has David won the hearts and minds of some portion of the teachers?
I don't think so. I mean, there's an intensity that, and I've said this before, you know, it's not just the union, it's not the union leadership. There's an intensity out there when you mention his name. It's like you see body language that people tighten up. I don't think that's changed at all.
I wonder if there's anything he could do at this point.
I don't
Nearly
think,
6
yeah,
years.
leave.
How does it feel to be a survivor?
Well, because the kids are reading better, it feels terrific. If that weren't the case, then it would just be a meaningless sort of an existence. And in fact, I probably wouldn't want to be here anyhow.
Nothing has been settled. The union has filed an unfair labor practice complaint, and the August 31st deadline passed without an agreement. However, both sides agreed to keep negotiating, and schools opened as scheduled on September 7th.